Hi, this is Brigham Cluff. This is the fourth video in my series All About Arizona Juries, the Science of Focus Groups. I've mentioned focus groups a couple of times before earlier in this series, and focus groups really are an amazing thing. They have really changed the way that I practice law. You spend so much time as an attorney trying to figure out in your mind, what would a jury do with this case? Because that's really what drives everything. Sometimes at the early stages of a case, a client will ask me, well, do you think that my case will settle? And I say, well, the odds are that it probably will settle. Most cases do settle. Well, then why do you seem to be so focused on trial? And why are you always talking about what the jury would do if this case is going to settle? And the reason for that is that's what drives the settlement. Both sides, plaintiff side, defense side, they are asking themselves, what is going to happen if we send this case to a jury? And both of the sides to a case, all of the sides to a case, sometimes there's more than two sides, are going to be driven in their negotiation strategy by the answer to that question. And so we spend a lot of time thinking about that. And we spend a lot of time talking about that, and it's important. That's a really important part of the process. When I'm running a hypothetical by a friend of mine at lunch, that's actually me working on the case, because getting that opinion from other people is really important information for me. However, that's really not the ideal way to get opinions from other people, because this person is my friend. He wants to make me feel good. He doesn't want to bring me down. Yeah, you're doing a great job on your case, and you're going to do great. The jury's going to love every part of the case. That's sort of my friend's natural inclination. But what's really helpful is to try to approximate a jury, because you don't know the jury. They don't know you. They're not trying to make you feel good. They may not even really like you very much, but you want to know what those people are going to think about your case. And the way you do that is by conducting focus groups. Now, a focus group can be a really huge production, or it can be pretty simple. And there are some advantages to doing a very expensive focus group where you're bringing in a large number of people and you're watching them deliberate behind one-way glass. You're listening in on the conversation, and that's really great. It's very expensive to do that, and sometimes that is the thing to do, but you can actually get most of the benefits of a focus group by doing something much more simple, by bringing a group of people together and buying some pizza, and maybe you pay for some of their time to come and evaluate your case. And when I do that, I do it different ways. Sometimes I'll let the focus group know where I'm coming from in a case. I'll say, here's my case, here's the evidence I'm going to put on, here's the evidence the other side is going to put on. Maybe I'll even introduce them to a couple of witnesses, show them some of the key evidence, and then get their feedback on it. It's really helpful, valuable to get that feedback from them. Sometimes I'll do a focus group where I won't let the jury know which side I'm on. I will argue both sides of the case just as passionately. And in fact, sometimes they think that I'm on the opposite side because, I know I'm so highly aware of the weaknesses in my own case that I'm able to attack right at those points. And so my focus groups will see that and they think, you must be the defense attorney, right? No, I'm the plaintiff's attorney. And that's fantastic feedback too. Sometimes I'll bring in a focus group and I'll have two attorneys there, me and another attorney. And we'll both advocate for one side. Sometimes I'll take my side, sometimes I'll advocate for the other side. That feedback that you get from those members of the focus group is so valuable, and it is something that you really cannot anticipate what some of that feedback is going to be without doing that focus group. You just wouldn't identify it. So let me put this into a real practical application. I was evaluating this case as being $1 million case. And I put together some focus groups, and when we would present the case to the focus groups, and we did it several different ways, all the ways I described earlier, what I was getting back from the jury was, this case is around $350,000. And if we were on the jury, we would award you $350,000. That was kind of frustrating to me because I kept thinking, for all this time I had been working on the case, I thought, no, I think this is about $1 million case. When it came time to settle that case, I knew what a jury would do with that case. And so when the other side came offering me $400,000, even though personally I had evaluated the case at $1 million, I might have, without having done the focus groups, said, no, $400,000, you're crazy. I'm not taking this to trial. I'm going to get my $1 million. No, I had focus grouped that case enough times that I knew the juries were evaluating it at $350,000. And so $400,000 was, that was a fantastic settlement result for us. And so we were able to get that case settled for more than what juries, according to our focus groups, would be awarding for that case. So by doing that, by going through those focus groups, we were able to settle that case faster than we could have if we had gone through and taken it all the way to trial. We were able to get money for the client sooner, and the client also had a lot of confidence when we settled that case that it was a good decision, that we were making a really intelligent decision. We had done what we needed to do. So the client was very happy, got the money then, didn't have to wait for the case to go to trial, and could feel confident that we had made the right decision. Please watch all of my videos in my series All About Arizona Juries, and I'd be happy to have feedback from you, and I'll reply to any comments that I receive. Hi, my name is Brigham Cluff, and you will never believe this one weird trick for getting out of jury duty in Arizona. And then the second type of bias that I want to talk about is something that we all justify and feel very strongly about, which is the bias that come to be known as the wisdom of crowds. Now, the wisdom of crowds is really a fascinating topic. It's been around for quite a while. You spend so much time as an attorney trying to figure out in your mind, what would a jury do? There are some advantages for a plaintiff of being in state court as opposed to federal court. Now, I'm going to read the 7th Amendment for you. And before you click away, let me just tell you it's very brief. Okay, so I'm going to read the 7th Amendment for you, and then I'm going to discuss what it means. Now, people are under the belief that juries are very easy on criminals and very hard on corporations.